Hi everyone. We're back now for the very specifically how to research in our FRCC online databases. So part one that hopefully you just watched was explaining the assignment, the library session, and getting us to this point where we're now going to do a search in Academic Search Premier. This is one of the FRCC databases. I've mentioned that if you need additional help, you can email one another. You can send an email to me. And really, what would be a great idea is also emailing or contacting one of the librarians. And the library is closed, as I mentioned, but the librarians are helping people online, over the phone, etc. So a few different resources that you can use, but hopefully this video will get you going. So this is number two video, and I hope to have a third one that's specifically about what to do before we meet again, so to speak, for next week. Okay, so this particular video is focused on how to do some searching here in Academic Search Premier. Okay, so here is a field where I'm going to put in my topic. So let's see, I think my topic will be anorexia nervosa. Hopefully I spelled that correctly because the database loves it when you spell things correctly. So I also am thinking I'm going to limit it to adolescents, or focus it a bit more, and maybe adolescents. Okay. All right. Now, before I click the search button, which I'm always very eager to do, I want to scroll down a little bit and make a few selections that can be really helpful. So I always want a full text. So if you're kind of following along with this, sometimes it's hard to watch this and be doing it yourself, but if you can have side-by-side screens, you might be able to do it, or you can stop and go back and forth. I really love full text because that means I get all of the journal article. And then this button where it says scholarly, peer-reviewed journals. Remember we talked about that and how critical that is, so I put a check mark right there. With document types, they have a lot of different documents like book chapters, editorials. I'm not sure I really want those. What I want is a journal article. So let's see if I can find article. I think I'm going to click that. I don't know that there's one that says journal article, but clearly it said article. So that's the one that I want. Now, this has a number of pages. And remember I said that 10 to 15? That's an interesting one. I've never used this. I've always just looked as I went along, but I wonder if that's a way. Maybe I could say less than 15. See if that helps me. Let's see. Oh, now look at this. So it says document type article, and I went with that. This one I recognize a whole lot better, this publication type, periodical. I like that. Language. I am only fluent in English. So here, there are some things that I can check. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and search and do that search button. And then I'm going to show you again when these different journal articles start to come up, more about how to refine the search. So a lot of those choices I made come up here again on the left. Okay, so search results, I have 298 search results, which is pretty good. A lot of times you're going to have like thousands, but we did a lot of that sort of selection ahead of time. So I'm going to scroll down this refine results again and see if there's another way that I might want to limit things. So it's telling me I did this peer review, that I told it I wanted an article and a periodical, that I wanted to be English and under 15 pages. Here it is, full text, scholarly reviewed again. Here's one that I didn't tell it any information on, and that's the publication date. So a lot of times people want to have something that's more recent. So Let's say I want to focus on the past 5 years. That could really do something, wouldn't it? Now let's look down a little further. Source types, academic journals. I feel like I had kind of told it that, but maybe I'll tell it again. Well, look at this. Now I'm down to 93 instead of 298. So it's really great to scroll down this refine results section and see if there's any other way that you want to refine things. Now, it didn't really get my academic journals that last time. I'm thinking that it was updating the publication date. Okay, so those are all some of the ways that I refine the results. Now I'm going to show you the one that I really, really like a lot, and that is this subject thesaurus term. If I click on that, and then I go down to show more, it'll bring up this little box. I think I'm in the box here. You may not be able to see all of it. But if you scroll down through this box, it kind of gives you some additional ways to get a different perspective on your topic. So right off the bat, when I'm looking at this, look at this family psychotherapy. That might be really interesting to me to focus on the psychotherapy side, the therapy side of how are we dealing with adolescents who have anorexia nervosa. And family is a huge thing with anorexia nervosa when the person is an adolescent. So that might be something I really want to focus in on, but I hadn't thought of it before. So it's a new way to refine my search. You can actually check off as many of these as you like and then update. And then let's see what's that. Now I'm down to 22 journal articles that fit all of those different criteria that I put in. Now, sometimes you can overdo it on the refining. Then you're like, oh, this really isn't the way I want it to go. And you want to let go of some of that refinement, broaden your search a little bit. But let's see now, I have all of these different journal articles are coming up. So how do I look at and think about and identify one that I would really like? Okay, well, one way you can do it is just look at the titles. So here's one that catches my eye, the modeled cost effectiveness of family-based and adolescent-focused treatment for anorexia nervosa. Maybe that catches my attention. I'm like, I'd like to look at that more. This little box right here that has the tiny magnifying glass, if I hover over that, it will bring up for me an abstract. So the abstract is a brief piece that tells me about what they were doing in this particular journal article. So if I read that and I like it, I might say, okay, I really do like that. I'm going to look at the full text. So down here on the bottom of this box that came up, it says PDF full text. So I'm going to pull that up, and now I see the journal article itself. This is really cool. This is the article. This is the digital object identifier number. It tells me when it was published. It's the International Journal of Eating Disorders. This was the journal article I looked at. Here are all of the different authors. Here's the abstract. And then it gets into the introduction. So I can start scrolling through. I can look at the method here, the descriptions, and so on and so on. So when I am searching for the perfect journal article, I usually try to get myself to do that refined search and then come up with at least 3 different journal articles that I sort of look over before I make a final decision of which of those 3 I want. And once I decide, then I'm going to print my journal article. Okay, but I usually do something to help myself save the journal article so that I don't have to go searching for it again. So let's say I'm interested in this first one. You can take it with you, delivering family-based treatment for teen eating disorders in the home setting. Okay, I read through the abstract, I liked it. I'm going to maybe pull up the PDF full text of it. Now when I do this, let's say this is one that I think, this one might be a good backup journal article. I really liked that other one, but this one might be a good backup. On the right-hand side, well, here's printing. I could print it, or I could email it to myself. What happens when I click on email? Then I have some options here. I can put in my email address, a little subject and comment to myself, and it will email me this direct connection to this journal article so that I don't have to go through all of the searching again. This is one of my tips. I recommend that people email at least 3 sources, but print one of those 3 sources out for yourself so that you have some backup plans. On citation format, if I click on that, I can choose APA, and it will also send me the APA reference. Now, when we look at that next week, I'll show you how to customize the reference for your research paper. Okay, so that was what I wanted to cover here in this particular video, was how to get in and do some searching in our FRCC online database. So if you can do this searching and print out the journal article, then you'll be ready to go to my third and final video for today that tells you what to do in preparation for next week's class.